Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our YouTube channel once again, and I want to thank you for taking your time to be part of us. The intention of every party is to win a presidential election, especially now the two coalitions, the Kenya Kwanza government and the Azimio. As we head to 2027, which is still very far, but it looks like we are in a very busy year. Between now and 2027, we are going to witness vigorous political activities because both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza are busy laying strategies to win 2027. But I want you to just take a second and imagine 5 years with President Ruto in power, and then another 5 years, a period of 10 years. Then I want you to imagine beyond that after William Ruto, Rigathi Gachagua takes over. Socially, politically, and even economically, where shall we be? And the reason why it touches my heart is because there have been revelations that Raila Odinga in 2007, 2013, 2017 and 2022 was not lucky to ascend to the highest office, courtesy of a group that always gang together and rob him of his victory. It pains many Azimio supporters or Raila supporters because there is a video that is going on about Raila Odinga saying how they hacked servers and they knew that they had won.
Yeah.
What has happened is we have managed to open that server,
Okay.
and access it, and we've got the results of that server.
And what do the results?
It showed that we won the elections.
With what percentage or
With
the numbers?
over 1 million votes.
So you got what?
I will not give you the figures, but I'll just tell you we won.
So how did you open the servers?
You just access it.
How? You're not an IEBC official.
You can access it through what you call whistleblowers.
So people within IEBC are working with you?
Whistleblowers.
Yeah.
And the whistleblowers are protected by our laws.
Right.
This is a video that was taken, I think, 5 years ago. And then, that was in 2017. Then in 2022, Raila again says something that we personally looked for IT gurus from abroad who could do investigations. There is something called ethical hacking, which is done with good intentions. They came with their own machines and they were located in Athi River. So Raila is telling us that in 2017 they hacked the servers and they just found out that they had won the elections. And of course that might have been confirmed by the former Chief Justice David Maraga. And then something happened in 2017, they did go for the elections. Then 5 years down the line, in 2022, elections were done, and Raila tells us that they did another hacking, and they found out that they had won. The basis of my analysis is this. If we continue allowing the enemy to get away with our victory, then there is no need of going for elections. And I will tell you why this is very touching and very painful to the Raila supporters. The enemy will always look for a loophole. The enemy will always look for a weakness, and they will maximize on it. The weakness that the Azimio as a fraternity has always had is being a statesman. This is the problem with Raila Amolo Odinga. Statesmanship, coming up at the hour of need and saying that there comes a time when a country or a nation is bigger than an individual. That has been the weakness, and it continues to be the weakness that will ensure that Raila will never see State House. I know this might not be very popular, but I'm doing this analysis because I'm looking at the projections in 2027. And if Azimio fraternity will decide, because I have realized that Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Moses Oparanya, and Eugene Wamalwa will form part of the Azimio team that will be fronted in 2027. If we continue making the same mistakes, then I can assure you that we are heading nowhere. And I want you to just give me an opportunity to explain to you why the enemy understands our weakness, and they know very well that even in 2027, it will not happen. If you listen to Mudhama is fronting that Raila Amolo Odinga should be on the ballot. And we have always stated that Meg Whitman represents the US and the UK and the Western powers. Then we have the IEBC and the Supreme Court. And of course, part of the deep state have always been against Raila Amolo Odinga. And those dark forces are still regrouping. And they will ensure that if we continue to manifest such kind of statesmanship characters, nothing will happen. Now let me tell you, this kind of statesmanship has made Raila and the entire Azimio fraternity to be a mockery. They have been the subject of mockery. I want you to listen to Didmas Baraza, a man who, when Raila started his politics, he was still in his political diapers. But he's got the guts of telling Raila Amolo Odinga that Raila always causes chaos because he wants to get back to State House through the back office or through the back door to be given something.
Mimi nimesikia na wananchi hawa wamesikia. Hawa watu wa Azimio wameanza kutisha Wakenya. Ati wanatuambia ati kwa sababu tulipigia kura Rais William Ruto na naibu wake Rigathi Gachagua, ati tuendelee kuumia, ati tusilie, ati Raila Odinga nyamaze, ati asiseme chochote. Mimi kwanza nashukuru rais mwenyewe jana amesema bei ya mafuta inaanza kuteremka mwezi huu, inateremka zaidi mwezi ujao, inateremka zaidi mwaka ambaye inakuja kule mbele. So I want to tell those characters that the government of Kenya has a plan. We signed more than 47 economic charters. We know what we are supposed to do. We will do what we are supposed to do, not because Raila Odinga has said, not because Azimio has said. Na mheshimiwa naibu rais, hawa watu ni kama huwa wanafanya biashara. Wakati ya kura ikiisha, wanatisha, wanafanya maandamano, alafu wanaenda kwa State House mlango ya nyuma, wanaambia rais atawapatia mafuta, ati pesa ya mafuta ya gari yao. Wanapatiwa, wanakwenda. Usikizia Raila Odinga amenyamaza asemi, inamaanisha amechukua mafuta kidogo anakula. Sasa hivi vile nimeona ameanza kuongea ni kama ile mafuta alichukua imekwisha. Mimi naomba wewe bwana Rigiji, kuanzia leo kama iko mafuta Raila Odinga anachukua State House, funga hiyo mifereji kabisa, chukua hiyo mafuta uletee watu ya Maonjoli kwa ujenge barabara.
In other words, people like Didmas Baraza and a clique of some enemies have the guts and the audacity to tell Raila that he leads demonstrations so that he can be compromised, so that he can be bribed. Take a look at Didmas Baraza. And it is because of moving forward, going for demonstrations, pushing the government into a corner where they cry that they are losing more money. Like this time around, they were saying that they were losing 2 million in a day. And then when we think we are closer to power, then Raila retreats. And this has earned him a name. I really don't like those young politicians trying to talk about Raila Amolo Odinga, because what Raila has achieved will take them their lifetime before they achieve it. Raila has fought for the second liberation, when people were fighting for against the one-party state. And Raila has been detained a period of 9 years. Raila fought to give us a constitution, the 2010 constitution, and he fought for the devolution. And his legacy will be unmatched. But then, the entire Azimio must ensure that there are some footsteps of Raila that they don't follow. Because the supporters of Raila Amolo Odinga are not happy when he's being mocked publicly like that. And it is because of retreating at the hour of need. Number two, when you retreat, when you manifest those characters of a statesmanship, the enemy knows very well that people will go for an election, they will rob you, you will go to the Supreme Court, they will take you in circles, and they will rule against you. To an extent that the newly appointed Chief Justice had the guts to tell Raila that all he was looking for, he was on a wild goose chase. That all the evidences that he presented were hot air. What does that tell you? These people have known that Raila is a statesman, so they ruled against him. After that, what happens? They know you will go to the streets, people will fight, you know, you will take the country to a standstill. But then they will send Chris Coons, they will send those diplomats, and they will speak to you, and you retreat. That has been like that. In 2007, Raila went into a handshake. In 2013, he said, I don't agree with the Supreme Court ruling, but I respect it. In 2017, even Maraga said the election was not done in a free and transparent manner. They refused to go back to the polls, of course, understandable, because they said that the IEBC had not restructured as was dictated or ordered by the Supreme Court. The same thing happened, and they shook hands. In 2022, just one year down the line, in fact, a few months ago, people were on the street, and Chris Coons came here, and the diplomats came here, and now it is like we have abandoned the quest to get our victory, because we were told through the ethical hacking, Azimio won, just like they won in 2017. So we are a group that wins, confirms our win, prepare the people, and then we retreat. How many of you still remember how we prepared the red carpet in KICC? I've always told you that politics is very emotive, and you raise people's hopes, then for some reasons you retreat. It gives the enemy the passion, and they know. Hata sahi wanajua kama Raila ndiye atakuwa kwa debe, the same thing will happen. I'm telling you, anybody from Azimio who will be fronted will beat William Ruto very early in the morning, because William Ruto has messed this country. But you know what? He won't be declared the winner. They will declare William Ruto, and they know the process. Because Raila is a statesman, if at all he will be on the ballot, they will go to the Supreme Court with what they will be calling watertight evidence, a bombshell. And then a moment of a feel-good kind of, where some judges, some lawyers throw in hard questions, and then people will be going and speculating this time round, wanachukua. Then the Supreme Court judges will retreat to write their judgment, and then before we know it, Raila has been declared a loser. And what follows? People are on the streets. When people go to the streets, people are killed for what I call being killed for nothing. Like our people were killed, being retrieved from their houses in Kisumu, and they were being killed, murdered, and being injured. My question is, why do we go to the streets when we know that the end result is not to get back our victory. And I know that the effect of maandamano sometimes are very, very fierce. But I think that before we go to the streets, we need to sit down and look and draw a map that we will be going, and the government will unleash terror on our people. People will be killed and they will be injured. Do we move forward until everyone is killed so that we get our victory? If the answer is no, then there is no need of going to the streets and we come back. Because with that, they know that, in fact, that is the norm. People go to the streets, the police kill people, innocent people, they unleash brutality, and then we are back to reforms. A team is selected from both sides. And I am saying here, ladies and gentlemen, as always, you might disagree with me, but I'm telling you, we cannot subject people to the police. And I know demonstrations and the right to picketing is entrenched in our constitution. But then we've been dealing with governments that don't respect the rule of the law, and we know that. So by the time we are going on the streets, we study the person we are going against, and we know they are going to kill people. Why do we kill and then we retreat? It bothers me. I don't know whether it bothers you. It might not bother you, but look for anybody who lost a son or a daughter, and you will know. My point is, if we have to go for an election against William Ruto, we need someone who is not a statesman, who will not listen to Meg Whitman, who will not be called by the UN Secretary General and tell him that, you know, we need peace in the surrounding, all that. We need a person who will go to Chatham House and tell them, nyinyi ndio mnatuibia kura na tutakubali. Because if it is not going to happen that way, if we are going to continue the same routine, the same norm, go for elections, declared a loser, go to Supreme Court, you will be declared a loser, go to the streets, innocent people will lose their lives, then it is back to normalcy. No. If you ask me if that is the trend, then there is no need of going for elections. This time around, we should go there knowing very well that hatutakubali, we will work on the weaknesses that have happened in all the years from 2007, 2013, 2017, and 2022, so that the elections are not being rigged. You know, it is not funny that every now and then, with experienced politicians like Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, and you still tell your people that you've been rigged. The question that people are asking, unaangalia nini? Ladies and gentlemen, Azimio is busy putting its house in order, which is very much okay. But are we trying to tighten, you know, the nuts? What are we going to do against the IEBC so that they don't steal? What are we going to do about the Supreme Court so that they don't rule, obviously, in favor of William Ruto? What are we going to do about an American president who pitches camp in Bomas when there is tallying of results? And we know this is unethical and it is not allowed. I know this is hot potato topic and many might not want to talk about it. But if you ask me, if Azimio knows very well that it is going to be business as usual, if we don't make a paradigm shift, we should not go for that elections. Because Azimio has got the numbers. That is undisputed. Azimio has got the most experienced politicians. Raila Odinga has been a prime minister in this country. Kalonzo Musyoka has been a vice president in this country. Last time they even had a sitting president. Then we still come back that we've been, if we know very well that we're going to be rigged, we're going to be robbed of our victory, let us not go there. Let people not lose lives. Let us not raise people's hopes. As we go for that election, the Azimio fraternity must tell us what they are going to do differently, how they are going to confront Meg Whitman, what they are going to do. Only that will people be satisfied that they are now going for an election. But if we are just going there, no. And I'm saying this for the love of that party, because people are suffering under this leadership, under Ruto. I don't know how it's gonna feel if Ruto is declared a president for the next 10 years. The loophole that the enemy is using, is taking advantage of, is the statesmanship. Wakati umeshika adui kona, umemshika vizuri, then you retreat. Let us change the tactic.